So let's talk about Palantir. It's one of the most powerful and most secretive companies on the planet. You know, it's a name that gets whispered in the halls of the CIA and the Pentagon, a company that really operates in the shadows, wielding this technology that some people call a superpower, and others, they call it a weapon. And to really get what Palantir is all about, we have to go back to a single catastrophic failure that literally changed the world.
This is the question that started it all. Because the most shocking thing to come out of the 9/11 attacks wasn't just the horror of the event itself, it was the later revelation that the US government, they had all the pieces of the puzzle. They had flight school records, weird money transfers, even the hijackers' names on watch lists. All the data was there. So what on earth went wrong?
And here's the official answer. The problem wasn't a lack of information. It was that the information was trapped. The CIA's computers literally couldn't talk to the FBI's. Think about it. Each agency had a crucial piece of the puzzle, but nobody could see the full picture. It was a total failure to connect the dots. And that failure, well, it created the perfect opening for a brand new kind of company.
But the story doesn't begin in Washington, D.C. Nope. It actually starts a few years earlier, back in 1999, right in the heart of the Silicon Valley .com boom. And it starts with a company you've definitely heard of, PayPal, founded by a crew that included Peter Thiel and Max Levchin.
See, while PayPal was exploding in popularity, it was also bleeding cash. We're talking $10 million every single month. And the cause? A really sophisticated ring of Russian hackers who were just draining accounts left and right with stolen credit cards and bots. This wasn't just a nuisance, it was a crisis that was about to sink the entire company.
At first, PayPal tried to fight fire with fire, pure automation, blocking certain IP addresses, flagging transaction amounts, but for every rule their engineers wrote, the hackers would just find a way around it. It was like a game of chess they just couldn't win. The breakthrough came when they completely flipped their thinking. Don't try to replace the human analyst. Instead, build software that makes them superhuman.
And that software was named Igor. What it did was revolutionary for the time. It sucked in all of PayPal's transaction data, and instead of just spitting out a spreadsheet, it visualized it. It created these maps that revealed connections a machine could never spot on its own. Suddenly, an analyst could see, wait a minute, these 47 different accounts are all logging in from the same computer. Igor flagged the weird stuff, but a human made the final call. And the result of this human-machine team-up? Fraud losses dropped by a staggering 70%.
So now, let's jump back to the world after 9/11. Peter Thiel has this massive light bulb moment. He realizes that the intelligence community's problem, all that data trapped in silos, it was the exact same problem PayPal had with fraud, just on a much deadlier scale. He thought that Igor philosophy could be the key to helping the CIA connect the dots and stop the next attack.
But here's the thing. Selling software to the government isn't like selling to a normal company. After an early demo went terribly wrong, Palantir came up with a totally radical new business model. Instead of building their software in an office in Palo Alto, they created something called the Forward Deployed Engineer. They literally sent their top engineers to go live and work inside the CIA, eating lunch with analysts, watching over their shoulders, and then coding new features overnight based on that direct, real-world feedback.
By 2008, this wild new model was about to face its ultimate test. In Iraq and Afghanistan, the #1 killer of American soldiers wasn't gunfire. It was the IED, the roadside bomb. These hidden explosives were responsible for over 60% of combat deaths in Iraq alone. We're talking over 2,600 soldiers killed and tens of thousands more wounded.
So Palantir sent their engineers right into the war zone. They were living in tents, working side by side with soldiers to build exactly what they needed. The result was a platform called Gotham. It pulled in all the data, patrol routes, bomb reports, surveillance feeds, and it started to see patterns that no human could ever spot. Things like a certain road getting hit every Tuesday, or specific phone numbers popping up on the network right before a blast. And this had a direct, life-saving impact, a 12% increase in finding these bombs before they could go off.
And that brings us to their most legendary success. Though, I should say it's still officially unconfirmed. For a decade, Osama bin Laden was a ghost. How in the world did they find him? Well, according to numerous reports, the CIA basically threw a mountain of data into Gotham. We're talking millions of documents, satellite images, phone recordings, a haystack of information so massive no team of humans could ever search through it.
And this is that needle in a haystack moment. Gotham allegedly mapped out the entire al-Qaeda network, who was talking to whom, where the money was flowing, every known connection, and it lit up one single crucial link. It connected one phone number belonging to a trusted courier to a mysterious, high-walled compound in Pakistan. The software connected the dots, and it led the CIA right to bin Laden's front door.
Okay, so after the triumph of the bin Laden raid, Palantir's reputation was pretty much sealed. But behind this incredibly powerful technology is an equally powerful and really controversial philosophy, a worldview that shapes not just what they build, but why they build it.
And you don't have to guess what that philosophy is, because they spell it out themselves. This line from their own manifesto says it all. It is an absolutely unapologetic, pro-military stance. To them, their software isn't just a product. It's a tool for national security, as essential as a rifle in a soldier's hands.
But a lot of critics see something way more dangerous. The philosopher Mark Zuckerberg calls it techno-fascism. He uses that term to describe an ideology where you fuse the power of the state with super advanced surveillance tech. The argument is that this enables a level of control that goes way beyond just defense, all while being sold to us as a necessary tool to fight some enemy.
And look, this isn't just some theory debated in a classroom. Palantir's tools are being used right now in some of the most sensitive spots on the globe. There are reports that its software has been integrated into AI targeting systems in Gaza. It has allegedly been used for targeted killings in Iran. And right here in the United States, ICE uses Palantir to track immigrants, analyzing everything from their social media posts to border-crossing data.
So how do we make sense of this? How do you reconcile the sheer business genius with what many see as a dangerous ideology? Well, it turns out they might be the exact same thing. To really understand Palantir, you have to understand their playbook.
From a pure business perspective, their strategy is nothing short of brilliant. Okay, lesson 1. The core idea of making humans superhuman, not replacing them. 2. That crazy model of customer proximity, putting your engineers right on the front lines to solve real problems. And 3. Their branding strategy. Go after the one legendary client, in this case, the CIA. And once you have their seal of approval, every other door swings wide open.
But here's the catch. You can't separate that business playbook from their ideological one. Critics argue that this militant worldview isn't just a side note, it's central to their whole identity. It positions American technology as the key to global power. In this vision, national security trumps everything else, and controversial surveillance, well, it's not just an option. It's presented as an unavoidable, unfortunate necessity.
And that, right there, is the core of the Palantir dilemma. The very same playbook that makes a soldier superhuman in the hunt for a terrorist can be used to track an immigrant. The same tool that connects the dots to prevent an attack can create the perfect blueprint for authoritarian control. It forces us all to ask a really fundamental question. In our search for security, what powers are we willing to create, and what is the ultimate price we are willing to pay?